going to work. Okay, it says Hangout Air is live now. Okay, so thank you again for joining. We are going to talk. My grand plan for this presentation is going to be one, to show you more as possible about the IDE, what are the options, what is the power behind these tools for Ethereum development and general blockchain development in Solidity language. This is one. Second is to explain a little bit about the hackathon event that we are going to spin up on December 1st, how it's going to be, what the rules, what is the procedure, and the third is to be available for you to ask any questions that maybe you have. So if it's all okay, we can start. A couple of words about myself, about the EtherCamp as a company. EtherCamp and myself was curious from the beginning about Ethereum. We started to follow up the Ethereum community and to study how this protocol is working. We developed our self-implementation. We developed the Java implementation. This is what we done, and this is open source. And this was the first project. Was our first project in the cryptocurrency world. Then after this, we developed the EtherCamp block explorer. We call it more as an analytic tool, and I'm sorry, you have some sound, so I will mute you. Okay, so we developed this block explorer for the community, so Ethereum can be browsed by this explorer and see all the contracts and how they work, and in real time to see how the transactions are going through the contracts. It was the second project. And then there was a big question how Ethereum should be developed, and there was no good tool around to develop Solidity and to develop smart contracts. So we decided that we have to develop good tool for Ethereum to explain to everybody how smart contracts are cool, what is the power behind the smart contracts, and basically provide you with the option to develop this very easy. And this is how the idea of the IDE started. And I will talk a little bit more about the hackathons later. So let's start with a couple of demos, hands-on on the IDE. I will share my screen. Maybe some of you already had chance to see it, so please ask questions so you are not going to waste your time. Okay, so my first example is very common example in the blockchain, cryptocurrency, smart contracts communities. It's a multi-sig wallet, right? So what is this multi-sig wallet? Multi-sig wallet is some pot of money that more than one user controls. So we need some agreement between a couple of addresses, couple of users to transfer money to somebody from this wallet. So this is not a simple contract. I will not go through the code because it's impossible to explain in the presentation mode how the code works. But I encourage you to take the source, it's open source, and study it because it will teach you a lot of tricks about Solidity code. What I can show you is how our IDE helped you to develop this kind of application. And to start about the IDE, as you see, it's a web IDE. It's based on C9 package, and we have partnership with C9, so they opened the source for us and helped us to code Ethereum sandbox inside this IDE. And we have sort of agreement with them how we do business around this IDE. So if it answers some of your questions that you maybe had. So how Ethereum connected to the IDE? First, we have this Ethereum.json file. Ethereum.json file gives you everything about how sandbox is going to be spin up, right? So if you have addresses, if you have some balances for them, if you want to define some storage for this account, you can define it all very easy in some very simple JSON. And there are more options, but if you're looking for any options for the sandbox, we're trying to have one file to rule all the sandbox. So this is, oh, excuse me. So this is to the start. Now let's see how easy it is to take a contract and just to see and just to try to work with it. So all I need to do is run all contracts. And then all contracts that I have in special predefined library are started and deployed into Ethereum Sandbox, which is basically a full functional Ethereum implementation inside our IDE. Before I will talk about this dialog, I will talk about this panel on the side. It basically start of the sandbox. It has everything that usual Ethereum application has. Blockchain, Ethereum blockchain has. It has the contracts we define in the JSON. It has them here. You can see the contracts. You can see the balance of the contracts. If you're asking why the balance is in the hexadecimal, it's because this is the old version, but in the new version you are not going to see it in hexadecimal. You're going to see it, okay? It has all the storage that you want to see in some contracts, and it has the contracts themselves, and we will touch it in a minute. So let's talk about this dialog. The multi-sig wallet, as we described, has more than one customer, more than one owner. So on start of this wallet, we are required by constructor, because this wallet has a constructor, we require to put some values inside the constructor. Without these values, the wallet has no meaning. And basically, the values are very, very simple. They are the list of the owners of this contract, and I will put simple JSON of a list of addresses. Very, very simple. Three owners of this contract. Required, how many signatures I need to move some money. I will put 3 of them. So I need agreement of 3 addresses to move some money from the wallet. Now I will put the day limit. Day limit basically says how much money I can move without any multi-sig activation. So basically I will put 1,000. If it's going to be above 1,000, it's going to ask me to sign everybody on the pending transaction. If it's going to be below, so it's going to be executed right away. It's also part of this implementation of multi-sig. And I will submit this execution of the constructor. And what we see here is basically the deployment of this contract into the Ethereum blockchain in real time. And we can see that all these addresses are already specified. So what we said are they are here. And the first one is basically who shipped the contract. So it can be different. Right? But 3 of these are just what we specified, and this is part of the repository. And this is what we call the crypto-validated repository. So if in the real network, if it's going to be deployed to multi-peer network, so all the peers are going to have the same values. This is the blockchain power. Okay, so okay, nice. We have this wallet, but the balance is 0. So we want to put some balance to start to manage this. And for this, we have blockchain manipulation functions. And one of these is basically to move some money, move some Ether. And I do new transaction. This is the sender. This is the contract number, address. So it's 25, right? This one. And I will put a little bit of Ether into this contract. So this is going to be our partnership. Okay. Yeah. Here we go. We have this money, and now to move this money, I'm going to need to be required. Sorry, somebody says me that he cannot. Oh, somebody on Slack says me that he cannot join, so I will send him to the broadcast. Excuse me, I will just give him a link. Hopefully it will work. Okay. Okay, so now that we have money, we want to do something. We want to show how this wallet actually works, how we can execute anything on this wallet. And we have here this small button basically says click me, and if I click this, I will see all the methods that I have inside this contract, so I can execute any of them. And if I will add, they will also be going to show up here automatically. So you don't need to code anything else. We're doing automatically for you. So you easy going to have option to debug or try to invoke any method and see how it works. So let's try to move some money. We have this method execute. The method execute basically says I want to execute a transaction, and I will put an address. This is the
Roman, I think you muted yourself.
Hey, now I'm okay?
Yep.
It was just now or a second ago?
Just a second ago.
Okay, cool. Thank you, thank you. I didn't notice this. I don't know why it was done. Okay, cool. Okay, so this address is not exist here. It's going to appear when it's going to get the money. It's going to get the ether. So I'm going to call the execution. Something happened with the wallet. Basically, what happens is that we have a pending transaction that says this address, and this is the pending transaction hash, but no transfer actually happened. I will save this hash because this is the hash of the pending transaction. And now I will approve this transaction 3 times with 3 different addresses, so this transaction actually will going to take place. And for this, we have this confirm method. I will put the address here. Sorry, not the address, the pending transaction hash. And then we have very nice functionality here that basically says who is going to send this transaction. And I selected this scenario to show you the power of the sandbox, because we completely can imitate any transaction that you are going to meet in the real life. And we are going to develop more as Ethereum is going to be developed. So let's try to do it. Actually, we have this call here. This is the first one to approve. One. You see, we have now 5 transactions. Now the second is going to approve the 6th one, and now we still didn't have any money transferred. But now the third partner is going to approve the transaction. It's going to be the 7th transaction here. And now you see, we just got the actual balance transfer. And I think it's pretty cool because this multi-signature is a pretty big thing in the crypto community, and here you see how easy it can be done on the Ethereum network. So I will show one more feature, and then I open for some questions before we go on. So after we have this contract and we debug this and we've seen that everything works, we can go and send it to the real network. We have this functionality. I will just select this wallet. This is what we want to send, and I will sign it with my real private key, because when I send it to the network, I need to sign a real transaction. Okay, let's send. We got pending transaction here, and basically what it's waiting for, it is waiting for the transaction to be mined. So the miner will mine it, so we can see it on the real network. I will take a couple of questions now to see that we are okay. So if you want to, please. Anybody? Like, it was so clear, so no question was. Yeah.
Well, unless anyone else has a question, when you mentioned that when you open the library on the right hand side, does it mean that I can have like templates there from like contracts that someone else written, or is it just my contracts?
You do have this option. You have a very nice option here, which we call predefined contracts. So, for example, not here. In Ethereum JSON, we have, like, for example, a name register is already deployed inside the sandbox and it's predefined here. You see? And this is basically a source that we hold here. And this is contract that is going to be part of the sandbox without create any transaction. So this is sort of templating, but this is more than templating. This basically says, hey, in the real network, you already have the name register. So let's imitate this situation when you already have something in the network and you can use it. So if it answers your question, if not, if you're talking about just templating, so templating is not going to work so good, but the open source contract that can be easily modified, maybe yes. So if you
Okay.
want to start something, you have some of them. Um, okay, if it answers, is it answers?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, cool, thank you. So it's mined here. We see the dependent transaction turned to be mined, and now we can go and see the contract in the real network. Basically, this is the block explorer that hack.ether.camp developed, and this is the contract that was just deployed. You can check it's a few seconds ago. You just have two confirmations. This is the accounts that we decided to have on the contract. All of them are here. Okay, so this is how after you have the contract, you can deploy it to any network. And basically, we decide what is the network by this peer ID. We can check. We asking the peer, okay, what genesis you are working with, and this is our indication to know which network we are going to deploy to. So it's also important. Okay, this is first presentation of multisig, and really, please answer. Please ask some questions. Please don't hesitate. I'm sure you have some. Like any question.
Yeah, see, Andre. So I got a question.
Sure.
So how does it work when you would like to have several people working on one project, like on one contract? Is that possible? And that you have several people contributing on the same code?
It is possible. It is possible, and you are going to see the coded vocation simultaneously, the same way you editing the Google Docs. And the people, when they spin up a sandbox, they are going to have different sandboxes, different instances of sandbox. So they are not going to disturb themselves.
But say, for example, you would have an educational program where you have a group of 4 people. They're working on the same project. They can collaborate in the same sandbox?
They can collaborate on the same sandbox, and they can collaborate on different sandboxes. I will show you example.
Are there
Here,
limitations?
yeah, you have
how
the
many?
Sorry?
Is there also a limitation how many can work in the same sandbox?
We didn't touch our limitation yet, because I have to say we spinning up a 2 GB RAM machine for you. It's a Docker, but it's a 2 GB RAM machine, and I think we already tried like 4 sandboxes in a row, and it was fine. So I believe in teams of 4 people maximum. If you're going to try more, probably you're going to hit some limitation in some moment, but we are not limiting. So maybe you are going to have like out of memory exception, which is not a nice thing to have, but we are not limiting nothing yet. So maybe we should try it. We should see how much sandboxes we can spin on one. Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. And what I started to show you is here. You have here a hash of the sandbox, and we are going to talk more about this in a minute. But you can have more sandboxes here from different instances, and you can switch between them, right? So if I do not select it now, oh, sorry, I don't have it now here, and if I do run all contracts again, I'm going basically to start another sandbox and another ID, and now I have 2 sandboxes. Here you see it. Ask me again about the constructor initiation. So let's not do it, but I can switch between them. You see? And then I see in this one I have 7 transactions and all the scenario that we done. And in this one I have only one that just started. So in this way we can, and we need to check how many of them we can do on one. Please, more questions. We have like 5 minutes for questions, so don't hesitate.
Hey, Roman, this is
Yeah.
Derek Tiffany from Three
Sure.
Pillar. Thanks for answering all my questions, by the way. But one more. So if you have an error in a contract, say a simplistic syntax error or something like that, I noticed that when you go to start the sandbox, you get a message. I think it's in the console. Is there any other indication? What's the best way of, I guess, kind of tracking down silly syntax errors and other things like that?
Here is the indication from the compiler. I don't know which one you are looking for. Something like underscore here, like red underscore under this one.
Yeah, I mean, I guess something as one was writing would certainly be awesome. But I just want to check if there was another. But yeah, the compiler output down there in the console is what I'd seen before.
Yeah, I think the only luxury that we implemented is just that you have focus on the first one. So if I go here, you see you got the focus on the first one.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
So,
that is
so
nice.
this is the only one we just, because we are running very fast, and what you are speaking about, I see it in a lot of IDEs, but they are very mature and we are just starting. So it's completely nice to have, but we probably should add it to the list, to the roadmap. But yeah, we didn't have, we don't have much more than this one yet.
Yep. No, thank you for showing me that. Appreciate it.
Okay, anybody else?
Maybe just to summarize, so what you're saying is that you can have a bunch of sandboxes per team, so they can just sort of try out different versions of the same contract, but with different addresses, so they're different contracts, and then you can have a bunch of teams which are using the whole platform. I'm just trying to sort of get the architecture the best I can.
Yeah.
So each team can have a bunch of sandboxes, and then they can be a certain number of teams, and they can look at each other's code as well, provided they give each other viewers access. Is it correct?
Yeah, it is a good summary.
Okay, cool.
There's another question. When you have say shared teams, say there's a group of people that work on a bigger project, such as let's create a bank, and you have all these different types like risk management and trading and stuff like that. Can you interact with these sandboxes so that, say for example, if you want to build a clearing and settlement house on top, where then several sandboxes would require this contract function from these other sandboxes, can you link sandboxes together and then execute them, test them?
I'm not sure I see how it will work. It's sort of something that does not exist in Ethereum, because what you're saying is a simulation of the situation when you have 2 blockchains and they somehow interact with each other, and I just don't know how it's going to work. Maybe I don't know all the ideas inside the crypto community, but in Ethereum, I don't know if there is something now. No, there is nothing exists now that's going to have interoperability between 2 networks, between 2 blockchains.
Wasn't the question more about like a system of contracts on Ethereum blockchain? Let's say if I'm building a DAO and I have like 3 contracts for a bank, one issues tokens, another one, I don't know, issues names or what have you, and another one does something else. I think that's what maybe Andrew means.
Yeah, exactly. More than that.
Okay, so sorry. So if you are asking about more than one contract to be deployed into the sandbox, so this is absolutely possible. You basically, we have a folder here. This is a folder. It is DApp contracts, and it is defined here inside Ethereum JSON, so you can change it. This is the place, and all contracts that you have inside this library are going to be compiled and deployed to your sandbox. So if you want 5 of them or 20 of them, it's going to work. And
Okay.
it is better to split them to smaller contracts because we have this gas limitation for the block, so you cannot deploy basically a large contract. But it's a hard limitation. Yeah, you probably know what it is, right?
Pi million.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
too, but how would it be if I would have two teams and each has their own sandbox and they build a product together with different contracts? Can these two teams basically execute or link their contracts together that it gives one application over the sandboxes, just between the sandboxes? Because you said you have shared access, right? So you can hop from one sandbox into the other.
So
if you have access to all the sandboxes, can you execute them in two different ones, or is it just in the one where you're master in?
yeah, so in this situation, we will see in a moment how the UI can be moved from sandbox to sandbox. But if you're talking about sharing contracts between sandboxes, it's not so possible. Like if they are deployed in different sandboxes, they are not going to see each other. But you can deploy them into the same sandbox, and then the other team can see them.
And in that scenario, I mean, if you had, so I mean, just standard Cloud9 functionality, if you had those two teams checking into the same Git repository, I mean, you could do a checkout and they'd be able to run each other's contracts within their sandbox.
Yep, absolutely. And as you probably know, you have a terminal here, which is basically give you all the Git. I don't have a Git here, but yeah, you can check out and take any module out of the GitHub, right? Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see a second example of the UI. And basically, this was all about the Ethereum interaction with the smart contracts only. And now let's see, because we are talking about very powerful IDE that C9 provides us with, basically give you option to develop anything, and you can develop any type of web UI. I will switch to another workspace and basically another IDE. And what I want to show you is that you can develop whatever you want. You can use Angular, you can use React, you can use any framework you like, and develop it and then test it inside the IDE. And because it runs on the network, you basically have the web server already done, already ready for you. So like here, you see this is the HTML, and again, I'm not going to go into the code, but it's all open source and you can check it out and install it in your environment. And basically we have explanation step by step how to take this example and to see how it works. So let's see, let's take this example, and we have some contract here. This one, it's microbank implementation. And let's start sandbox with this bank. Let's deploy this contract. Now it has been deployed. Let's see that it is the case. Here it is. It's a complicated contract, very long, large one. We really spent some time developing it. But I will not show you nothing about the contract itself. I just start the UI that we have developed also for this one, and you can see how the work can be done. So as I have shown, you have a shell access, and in this shell you basically can start HTTP server. This is npm usual tool, and I can start it. It just started, and then I can just change the port of this domain. I can change it. And here's an application that's just running out of the IDE. Here it is. And right. And what I'm going to show to you that this one can interact with the sandbox. I just need to set this provider. This long URL is basically the link to your sandbox, and you can define it the way you want. For this, I'm going to achieve this, I'm going to take this hash. This is the hash of the sandbox. Here I see the HTML running, right? So I'm going to take this one, I'm going to find the place we are changing this. Here we have place for this hash. I'm going to send it. I'm going to refresh. So I will see exactly, here it is, it's 330, right? It's 330, this one. And now, this is the microbank. Let's see it again. This is the microbank. This is the storage we have. So this is two rows. This is the storage. So let's start another one. Let's put somebody here. And what I required here is to put some address that already exists. I think this one exists. Not sure. We'll check, we'll double check it if it's not going to work. And then I just need to, let's see. Yeah. I just need to register. Okay, let's see this. You see, we got this added to the sandbox. So this is the interaction you have, and we can we was adding one creditor, right? So let's add another one, and we basically using the accounts that predefined in onto the chain. So we have like camp2. So I will use camp2 now to. I need to log out because it's for peer 1, and then I put the camp. Camp 2 here. I'm going to do camp 2 here and register it also. And you can see that we got it also. Sorry, we'll mute you. Too much side noise. Okay, so this was like an example, and we have nice options to do stuff here inside this contract, like bid on credit or ask for credit, and this is also going into the blockchain. We don't have any database here, but you can have one. And you can study. It's very nice study case that we provide you with open source, the contracts and the UI. And somebody already pushed some fixed for this contract, and thank you for this. And if you want to contribute and develop it more, it's nice study case, and people are going to use it. So this is my second demo, and if you have any questions on that one, so please ask them now.
Hey Roman, this is Derek again. So the two big parts that we need to access the contract would be the Web3 HTTP provider, which you showed us how to get at. The other thing is going to be the ABI definition. What's the easiest way to pull the ABI definition of our contract out?
Yeah, thank you for a very good question. We have this functionality here. When I say very good question, it says that I have very good answer. So this is basically how it works, but we have this ABI here. You see? After you got the contract, you have the ABI automatically, and then we just save it in some file inside the Web3, and all the interaction is the Web3 general interaction. So we just embrace what community show us, and we didn't invent anything here. We use the same Web3, and this what it does says that you can change this provider URL to anything. You can change it to the real network. You can change it to another sandbox. It depends on what you put here, but the usage is the same usage.
Okay. Is there a way to get? I guess one thing I was looking at is there a way to get like the list of is there a way to get access to that? I guess maybe programmatically or through the console some way. I mean, like for example, the list of running sandbox. I mean, hypothetically, if I wanted to run a Mocha unit test, is there kind of a way to pull that stuff out programmatically, or would I have to copy and paste everything over?
Well, we're already doing sort of unit testing with NPM, NPM style, like just call to the Web3 from some script. I think you can use whatever you want from whatever you have in the community. Like community already developing a list of tools for the testing, and because you have a command line access, so you can take whatever is convenient for you. We didn't include it into ID, you know, like with UI or something. But
Right.
we have it also on the list because I'm you know my study I did on IntelliJ IDEA, which is the Java maybe best IDE out there. So I'm trying to study from them how to do it, and maybe the best idea to study from. So they have this unit test that also turn into sort of UI, so you can do it both ways. So we're planning something like that in the future.
Yep. All right. Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay.
Where do I find documentation?
Which
So
one?
is there like, let's say specifically for the UI, if I want to look up something quickly, or you know, if a student is looking up something, how does he go about? Where's the documentation for?
Okay,
for the
so
UI?
there is Solidity documentation. Solidity. I think this one. This is Solidity General. You know this website? Are you familiar with this one?
I don't know this.
Okay, so I can paste it to. Let's put it in the general of our Slack. And you can take it from there. This is one. This is all around Solidity. I don't think you have a Web3 stuff here. Other place, and if you ask, we are not good in documentation because we was very focused on the implementation of the stuff, but we are getting there because now it's time to explain everybody, and we are working on documentation also. So second idea is to take the actual contract that I showing to you, and which I mentioned that is open source. And if you go here, this microbank, you have the exact 7 steps that you need to take to have this inside your environment, and just to see how it works. I think it's the best example, the best starter for you, for anybody that don't know at all Web3 and Solidity, you know, to take something so complex but already working, and just to see how it works and what library it's using to start and study. So I will also paste this one in the general, and if you are starting to work with this and you have questions, so please, we will help you. Okay, try to help.
Cool, thank you. And one more question. You mentioned it earlier. It's how much gas does it cost to deploy contracts? You said if they're going bigger, it's going to be more expensive. But what is there an average cost you can verify for contracts, and what size?
Well, there is no average. It very depends on what you're doing, but we will show it to you here. Basically, you can see how much it costs to you right away. There is a limitation. The limitation is pi million of gas. This is the limitation, right? So it's 3.14 million, and there is a reason for this limitation, but it can be increased in the future. It depends on miners' agreement, because they want to keep the block smaller, but they can decide that the block can be much larger, and then this limitation is going to be moved forward. So anyway, in the IDE, we already calculate this for you, and when you deploy into the real network, you're also going to see this. You are going to see how much you are going to pay for this contract. We do this calculation for you, so you can see like this is. I think that one is already more than the limitation. So if I want to deploy this one, it's not going to work. So probably to deploy this one, we need to split it to a smaller contracts. Okay.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, just a quick question. Have you guys decided on terms of like how it will be priced in the future, in terms of like licensing and stuff like that?
The IDE.
Yes.
Yeah, we are in the process of doing this, but what I presented on the DEF CON, what is going to be the structure, and we are also partners with Microsoft Azure Cloud, and there are going to be two ways to doing this. Like one is the single IDE, and it's probably going to have 1 month completely free for trial. And later you're going to pay some fee. We are we just need to decide it with C9 and Microsoft and everybody to see how it will work for everybody. And we want to lower the price as much as possible because we want to make it available to the community. This is first option. The second is what we call Ether Campus. And Ether Campus basically says you have a company and you want to put a server there inside your company and say, okay, I have 10 licenses for my developers, or I have a class of students and I have 20 students and each of them are going to get an ID. And you're going to be admin of your own server and spin up IDs internally inside your organization. This is also something that we are going to ship, and we already was requested for this one from a couple of teams, and I believe that one is going to be very popular.
So you talked about Windows Azure. Do you guys plan on sort of like, if you already have a Windows Azure account, to have the billing sort of directly facilitated through Windows Azure, or will it be separate?
Yeah, it's going to be part of their charging system. We just need to
Okay.
decide how much we are going to get from this and how much C9 is going to get from this. But it's going to go through there. So if you have some credits, they basically will going to charge you these credits. Okay. We are completely integrating into their marketplace. You are going to
cool.
There.
Mm-hmm. So do you have a timeline on when you guys think that this would be available through Azure?
I believe before Christmas.
Before Christmas? All right. Thank you. By the way, it's great. It looks.
Yeah, hope so. I didn't promise, but we are working hard to make it happen. we want to make it before Christmas, and we are almost there. We are.
One last question before I go. There was a feature that's available in the sort of the Mix IDE that allows you to simulate transactions. Can you do that here? Can you basically simulate, like add inputs and then replay a scenario using the IDE here?
Oh, so the transaction imitation of transaction is here, and we just on two examples we just showed how you can invoke any contract, you can send transaction, you can basically imitate any transaction that can be possibly done in the Ethereum network. About the replay feature, we trying to do it a little bit differently, but it's going to be you're going to have something with replay list of transactions. Right.
So it would be a feature that you guys are planning on implementing. So like, because this idea of like replaying sort of like your scenario can help when you're debugging or testing your.
Yeah, I'm going to describe you this feature because it's just in the kitchen. It's going to be like this. You have a list of transactions that you have done on the sandbox, and what usually people want to do, they want to say, okay, on this last transaction I don't want it, but this like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like these 8 transactions, I want to replay them. So you're going to have some button here that says, okay, this 8, I'm going to replay them. And then all this sandbox is going to restart it, and these transactions are going to be resent, and then you will continue your scenario from some point. So it's going to be much easier, I think, than Mixdown. You need much less configuration, but yeah, we need to try it. But this is what we're developing now.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so if there is no more question, let's talk a little bit about the hackathon. Okay, because this is also something that we are very, very excited to start. And the idea of hackathon we got it very interesting way because we was very concentrating on the IDE development. And while we was studying how to do this idea and how to make it convenient for people, we was going to a lot of hackathons around Ethereum, and we was basically standing behind the shoulder and watching people coding and asking questions how it's easy can be done with Ethereum and how you want to do Ethereum and trying to understand. And then when the idea was already something that we started also to work with and develop stuff, there was this idea, okay, so why these hackathons should be in some location, why people should go out of their home. Like we are doing everything online, so let's do online hackathon. And if you have this IDE, so let's give everybody this IDE, and so people can code, and everybody can watch them coding while it happens. And this is how this online hackathon idea basically started. And we really want to see it happening, because this is going to be first time that people actually can watch the guys on the hackathon doing something in the real-time mode. And if anybody of you didn't see it, this is the website. And what is going to happen in the next week is like that. Now we gave like 60 IDs, 60 IDs for everybody in the Slack in trial version mode, so you can study and develop whatever you want. But in some point of time, maybe on Thursday, we are going to tear down all these IDs, and we are going to open a registration process here, which is going to be also very simple here on this hackathon website. And basically what it's going to be is just to set a name and invite your friends to code with you. And you can see you have more than one user inside this hackathon, and they can use one ID and develop. And this is what we want. You're going to have option to join here and start your ID and start your, basically we call it a camp. Start your camp, invite your friends, and try to impress the judges, which we have also very nice list of judges here that are going to watch you coding, and you're going to be judged by what you're going to deploy through this hackathon. My network is not so good, sorry. Here is the judges, and in real time you can see what the judges, and because we're doing all these votes are saved on the blockchain, basically on the real network of Ethereum. So you're going to see what the judges are going to deliver, and what the judges are going to give, what points they're going to give. And this is what we are planning to start on December 1st. Yeah, okay, so this is about the hackathons. Any question on this one?
Just a quick question. So this feature of starting a camp and allowing multiple people to work on within the same IDE, will that be available sort of like outside of the hackathon sort of like umbrella when your product becomes available on Azure? So like let's say you have a team of 5 people, they kind of can share the same IDE, or is that something that you guys don't have in mind yet?
Yeah, we want to make it work this way. Maybe not on the single instance, but on the campus for sure.
And will that also be part of the December time?
Yeah, because I tell you why. Because all this hackathon is basically one big server of Microsoft Azure that give you these IDEs and all these members. So we just need to deliver you with the different UI, right? So this UI is the for hackathons, and you are going to have here all this UI to spin camps and to start and to add users. And when you have a product done, so you're going to publish this product, and you will see the link here, and everybody can go and see what you have developed. And and in the Ether campus without the hackathon, you just need different UI to make the same functionality, but the functionality already is there. Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
So I just hope to set a basic UI in time, and then you can already start and work with this campus. Okay, and you can always ask me more details on the Slack, so we can discuss how we can pilot this with you, because there are several teams that are going to try it right away when it's going to be live. So if you want to be on this list, so please tell so. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Roma. One last quick question. You mentioned that that all the IDEs that you spun up already for everybody on the Slack will stop working in December.
Basically, we gave them for 2 weeks trial period, and we want to take them down maybe on Thursday, maybe on Friday this week.
Oh, I see.
And
So if like somebody's planning to sort of like continue development on the IDE, is there a way they can sort of like maintain sort of an instance, I guess? Do you have plans for that, or?
well, now we are very much concentrated around this hackathon idea. So after we will tear it down, we are really encourage you to participate in the hackathon and get the idea there, and have everybody watch what we are doing. If you want to develop something, I'm sorry, we just going to be ready for this after the hackathon and until the Christmas. We really are going to work hard to provide your team with the ideas, but it's going to take a little bit more time. All this trial version now was just to prepare everybody who want to take part of the competition to study the environment. And this was like the main reason. And for development and private usage, we are going to be ready soon, right? So this is the best what I can give you now. Okay.
All right, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Another question for the hackathon. So when the hackathon is going to be completed, it's going to be judged, the finals. So afterwards, can you still continue developing on your product? Obviously, if the 4 days are not enough and the product is a cool idea, so there will be not deleted or anything. Just it's going to be still open and accessible after the hackathon, or?
No, unfortunately not. We have to take the IDs down, and you basically are going to keep the source and keep all the code. It's yours. But we are going to, like after hackathon, we are going to provide the private functionality, but not as part of the hackathon website. Like these IDs are going to disappear or stay in read-only mode so people can watch what have been done, but you are not going to, like we are under agreement not to provide everything like for free for a lifetime or something. Really sorry about that, but we are going to spin up very soon a functionality like this, but on different UI. Okay, and here I'm just showing how this camp simply can be done. You just put address for your camp. So if you get the price of the money will be transferred for you. You just describe what you are going to do. You can invite some guys to take part in the hackathon. They can be invited, and this is it. And you get an ID for the hackathon for the development. And this is going to be 5-day competition. So everybody who are also, get a day job and want to develop in the evening, they have enough time to catch up and try to win this competition. And this is very basic functionality that we developed, but we have a lot of plans around the idea of hackathons, and we are really excited to develop this idea and make and once in a while have a competition between people in this very open mode. And basically all these 172 people that you see in our Slack, they came from different corners of the industry. And one strategy that I use to invite people is just asking the accelerators that doing hackathons to send people that like hackathons to take part in this online competition. So it's going to be crowded, I believe so. Yeah, and you can buy a beer for a team if you really like them. You can buy a beer. This was my idea. Okay, so you have to say it's cool. Okay, so any more questions?
Is it possible to see, so teams will start registering next week, is it correct?
I believe we are going to open this for the registration like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. maybe
Okay.
one of the next weekend, because the competition is on December 1st, officially starting.
Yeah,
And
so
this is the time where when the judges can give you their kudos. So we want to start to make the option of registration possible a couple of days before, so people can be prepared, and if there is any problems, we can solve it.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Another question, maybe what I was thinking of, because I already noticed on Slack, there are people who might be parts of different teams, but pretty much interested in very similar systems.
Mm-hmm.
So far, it's just on Slack individually. People can find out whether if there are two people, another two people, and they want to have a bigger team,
Mm-hmm.
they can figure it out on Slack.
Yeah, basically we had plans to do it programmatically, but when you're starting to develop something like this, you ending up doing another chat system, and Slack is just awesome. So we love Slack, and this is why we encourage everybody to use and meet people on Slack. What we are going to do next to the next hackathons is to include Slack embedded into the website. So all the chats, everything can be seen just in the website, and everybody can watch it also from outside and jump in or something like this. So you don't need to log in inside, like you don't need to open Slack for it. Like we are going to integrate the Slack very deeply with all the system. So for now, yeah, this is the place. But it works. I see people already finding colleagues to develop with them, right? Any question for viewers that are not online, that are not here, but watching in read-only mode? I think you can chat, right? You can put something here. Any more questions from you? Okay, so if there is no more question, thank you everybody. I am available on Slack. I watch it each 10 minutes, so I get a lot of private questions there, but you are also welcome to ask in general channels, so everybody else can see your questions and also study. Thank you everybody for being here. I hope it helped you, and yeah, thank you, Derek. So yeah, and see you in the event, and talk to you later. Okay.
Thanks, Roman. Thanks for the.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Bye bye.
Awesome. Thank you, Roman.